Welcome to the winter garden. It's cold. We're supposed to get our first frost tonight, so doing a garden tour before the first frost in southern Sweden. This tomato is mostly dead, but yeah, the tomatoes are dead, the squash is dead, but everything else is going pretty strong. Lots and lots of Brussels sprouts, different varieties, some bigger, some smaller, some hilariously small. This is in theory a ground cherry, but the husks are enormous. And I got one and I didn't think it tasted very good. But this is like all the tomatoes are dead and this is very much alive and still flowering. Right, like. So yeah, it's just trying to take over the world. But it's pretty, so I'm letting it live until it dies. Still haven't put that dirt somewhere better. Yeah, Brussels sprouts. Someone shooting a pheasant, I think. This is just a mess. My funny little pine tree that volunteered in the driveway. So we transplanted it back here. And someday we'll have a Christmas tree. There's a pear tree that's gone into dormancy, apple and cherry, a compost heap, blackberries, and invasion of the bamboo. So I'm gonna have to dig these up, which is okay. But yeah, the previous owners planted bamboo and buried the container it was planted in under the soil, so it escaped. This is a war that we're constantly fighting. But yeah, so I'm gonna redo the garden this winter, and with that in mind, I'm going to move those perennials because there's bamboo growing in it and there's no way for me to get that out without getting rid of the bamboo. The chickens want their breakfast because of course. Spinach, cabbages, dying things, blueberries going into dormancy. This is fennel that I planted too long ago and it dropped seed, so I should get volunteer fennel. Grass seed that infiltrated the bed that I just haven't had the time or desire to fix that, which is fine. Some kales and some cabbages and a kohlrabi that got eaten at the top and then turned into this mutant, and I'm just letting it be a mutant. My beans that I need to pull out. This grass is everywhere. So yeah, this grass and these geraniums are my biggest weeds in my beds. So just when the lawn gets mowed, if we have any seed, it just kicks into stuff. So, you know, it's fine. This is on my list of things to do. And yeah, so they're not hard to pull up as long as you get them before they're too very well established and technically edible, right? Like the geranium is technically edible. People use it as an herb here, but yeah. Mushrooms, healthy soil, more beans that died. I just need to clean out this bed. And then fennel that I planted at the wrong time, so they're all very small and going to seed, which I'm saving the seed and letting some of the seed drop and hoping I'll get volunteers over here. But you can use the fronds and they make a really lovely tea, and they're just that anisey licorice flavor, but they also just smell really good. And I'm going to give these to the chickens and confuse them. And then there's more Brussels sprouts in here. Oh. Yeah, more Brussels everywhere. Outbuildings have not progressed. It's okay. Oh, I took down the chaos that was there because it got murdered in the wind that we had. Hey, chicks. Here, have some fennel. See what happens. Well, they're either excited or horrified, which sounds correct for chicken. My garlic that I planted in here, there's a one little shoot coming up there, and then I seeded some cilantro and dill, and then this garlic back here is all coming up. It's an onion from last year. Yeah, I planted garlic all through here, but this variety, which I don't remember what it is, it's already popping up. So I've cut back some of the greens and eaten them because you can. Smoltron going into dormancy, ground elder, which is the bane of my existence because it's ground elder and it's the bane of my existence. This pumpkin is finally dead enough. And some Dinosaur Kale that survived the birds. Hey, chicks. You know. Boy. Rose hips that I will harvest, I think, tomorrow, because we'll get that frost tonight, so then they should be sweeter. I still have carrots in here that I'm harvesting every once in a while. I planted spinach on that side, but it just didn't germinate well, so didn't happen. Colette. So, kale Brussels sprout hybrid. I haven't actually eaten any of these. This is a broccoli that I topped the other day. Ground elder invasion, some cabbage invasion. Things that don't have drainage and are just flooded, but still happy. My walking stick kale. I think it's walking stick. Maybe 1,000 head. I don't know. I planted too many varieties. My first Romanesco cauliflower, and it has set off a bunch of babies in the armpits. So I'm gonna need to harvest this little tiny one and see if the side shoots will give me cauliflower. Peas. I forgot there's peas in the back too. But yeah, oh, and a smoltron. Beets and turnips, which they're small. They were planted late. It's okay. What else? Oh, everything is dead. Artichokes outside are doing kind of okay. This is purple sprouting broccoli, which clearly I planted at the wrong time. This is basil that went to seed. So I'm just gonna throw that in there. Oh, that smells awesome. And yeah, basil and dill that went to seed. So that'll just be future herbs coming up in there in the spring, or probably somewhere else in the yard. Carrots, again, physalis that is not dead. Oh, the demon armyworm caterpillars that are just all over everything, everywhere. I put some transplants in here a long time ago, have not watered them, have not done anything to them. They're still, some of them are still alive. There's some weeds in here that I'm just not taking care of it. I have too much to do since I went back to work in the office. So, yeah. Sometimes you gotta make choices. Different rose hips if you want to harvest these. And then I have a wild rose in the back. I have 3 different kinds of roses on the property. My raspberries finally are going into dormancy and slowing down. These are all the runners that came off of this plant, and I've been taking them out of here and putting them in the line so that we can just have a full hedge of raspberries over there. That is the future plan. And as soon as they go dormant, I'm going to dig them up and find a home for them in this row. And then I think I'm going to run a string across to keep them up and back. That at least is the story I'm telling myself in my head. But there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like decent sized plants that I'll be able to pull out of here once they lose their foliage. And like I can harvest these, the young bits for tea, and like, yeah, they're good, they're tasty. But yeah, so raspberry leaf tea. Um, a lot of people harvest a bunch early in the spring and preserve them, and then I tend to just take them as I need them. But yeah, and then, hi, how's it going? Bounty of raspberry fruits that I didn't see until, yeah, these are probably like 2 days away from being like exactly where you want them to be. So I'll need to come out here with a basket later and harvest them. But yeah, first year shoots set off fruit. The private canes will also set off fruit, but these ones that are like, I need to cut these back and cut them down a little bit, but these will set off fruit earlier, and so I always leave some second year, or no, these ones will, the first year's canes like this, these will set off, and then these will probably die back, so I'll probably need to cut back a bunch of those that are too woody, because they will die in their third year. So yeah, just try to trim up your raspberries and take care of them as much as possible. But the new shoots are the most productive, right? Like they have the highest, but the second year give you fruit earlier. So I try not to get rid of all of them so that we have lots of fruit throughout the year. I sowed a bunch of beets in here, but I don't think they're coming up. And I think if they are coming up, the birds are getting to them. So I need to rework this whole bed. This strawberry is taking over, which is great. There's also a strawberry in there that's taking over, which is great. And I'm going to build a path in here because I can't actually reach the middle back of this. So I'm going to turn this into like a keyhole garden. But rather than cut the wood and stuff, I'm going to put stone pavers in the middle and just do a little walkway to access, because I think trying to restructure this bed now, it will be harder and weirder than if I just create a raised key, and then the kids can go in and help. And like, these are supposed to be their gardens eventually. This is the kid garden, and then that's mine in the back. Broad beans came up. These will probably be very angry and get frostbitten tonight. That tarragon is going to die. Different broad bean. This is celery seed, or celery that went to seed. This is supposed to be a rutabaga, but I think the nutrition in this bed, which I didn't really fertilize, was not sufficient for it, so it's never setting a root, which is fine. We can't be great at everything all the time. And then, as always, the biggest change is in the greenhouse. So, I still haven't done anything with this. This is my red Russian kale that went to seed. That's a mess. My grapes have gone into dormancy, and I just found some that I forgot to harvest, so that's funny. This is supposed to be 1,000-head kale. It is mostly attacked by caterpillars and apparently birds, maybe? I don't know. I don't know what got at this. I'm just going to guess it's the birds. This was in the back. This was in the back. And I'm going to transplant out my November starts and put them in here. So I built this yesterday so that I would have a double cover for my starts in the greenhouse. They're all brassicas, they're all frost hardy, but getting them started and then transplanted out here. I was going to do this tonight, but we're supposed to get down to -2 Celsius, which is like 28. It's our first freeze, and I think it's a bad idea, so I'm going to do this tomorrow on my lunch break. And then they'll be in here, and we just are supposed to have a very cold night tonight, and then it's supposed to go back up to like 6 the next day. So it's just a one-off. Like, yeah, this winter's going to be weird. But these beans are still like alive-ish, even though I cut them at the base. So I'm just waiting for them to dry out so that they're easier to remove. And the stems just break off I moved this bucket that was on the deck with my weird experiments. These are still the same plants that I planted early, like early in the year. And I just found some mouse ear chickweed that came in here, so that's fun. Avoid chickweed and grass, so why not? I planted a transplant in there. It did not survive. I have eggplants and peppers in here still. I don't know that they will survive. I have some peppers down here. I don't know that they will survive tonight. That window refuses to close, so I have to find a way to close it. Or just let it keep venting, which I've kept it venting. This borage is white, very pretty, and has survived all of the nonsense. So it's just there. This tomato, I think, died last night. Yep, this died last night. It was not like that yesterday. Yeah, celeriac, more green garlic, the dead pepper plant over there. This is very funny because this was a dinosaur kale, and I don't know if you can see, but yeah, there's a cabbage white. But this dinosaur kale got decimated by caterpillars, and now it's setting out little side shoots. So this is trying to survive by pretending to be a Brussels sprout, but it's Lacinato Kale. So I've been trying to grow colettes, but apparently just traumatizing a kale enough, it'll make it do that anyway. So that's kind of funny, but yeah, thanks caterpillar. Go up there. This is still a giant mess. There are a couple of spinaches that have survived and germinated and become functional. I put the timer on this so that it now cycles out, and so it just turns back on. So like, there's always water in the bottom of this because it has a flood channel, but now it's like dropping down and getting more aeration. So my hope is that it will make everything happier and the roots stronger. These transplants are doing okay considering they got attacked by caterpillars and aphids, which, yeah, so we'll see. Like, they seem to be doing okay. I'm not doing this in a very good scientific manner. Just pop stuff in that I had and hoped for the best, which tends to be my scientific manner, which is chaos. Oh yeah, a lemon balm, some dill. Yeah, we got lots of stuff happening. I topped these hoping that they would get better. They're doing okay, but again, just traumatized plants and experiments, and that kale doing that today is very funny to me. Yeah, so that's the garden. I have more to show you in the house, but yeah, I want to show you the silliness that is my happiest colette, which is this one that has been growing in the shade of these blueberry bushes, in the shade of the house. But yeah, like, this is the happiest, healthiest. It's just in a bucket. So like, container gardening and brassicas, absolutely a thing worth doing, because it is. Right? This is the most impressive, and it's in the same thing. I think it's a 20 liter or 40 centimeter, 30 centimeter maybe? Right? Like, it's not a very big container, and it's not a lot of soil, and I haven't really fertilized this, but this giant plant is just in that tiny thing. And it's got slight wind shelter, and I think that's more important. It's like, give it a little wind shelter, and it's like no competition, and that's the result. So these are enormous, and these are the ones that I just joke about and take pictures because they're just enormous. When they get like fully grown, they're enormous, and that's enough for one person for a meal. And yeah, I don't know, I planted too many varieties and I lost track of which ones went where. So I don't know if this is a cottager's or like I planted too many. So I need to do that experiment again next year and then like label things more properly. But yeah, this one container, like not even a 5-gallon bucket, like right, like a 2.5-gallon bucket, makes growing that plant. It's pretty awesome. This might be my favorite. All right, I'm gonna go inside and show you the inside after I feed the chickens. I went to get the one egg and it started raining. It's like super, super light, so I don't think you can see it. But yeah, just sweetest guy. And I need to get some kale or Brussels sprouts or something for breakfast. So this came in with aphids. And if you've ever seen what aphids do, they suck the life out of your plant. So I was gonna overwinter this, but it is just infested with aphids. And they have just moved from plant to plant to plant. So I am gonna need to do something about this, which is very sad. I'm probably going to have to kill these plants. I'm gonna give them another day while I wait for that super cold nonsense to stop, and then I will probably cut them all back down to their stem like I was supposed to and try to overwinter them in here. Sweet potatoes that were planted in here came back, and these cucumbers are doing they're not doing great, but they're just not doing great. And there's a leek that I planted a million years ago. It might be too warm in here for them, which is kind of funny that my outdoor office with the indoor heating is too warm for the cucumbers, but we'll see. This all may be a fail, which is okay, because it's okay. Failures are inevitable. But I don't know if I'll, but I do have some more peppers on here, so I'm just trying to give them a chance. Okay. Hello. I don't know what kind of bug that is, so that's weird. But there's basil in here, and clearly I did not water this, and I don't know why it's so dry in here. It's very odd. We were worried about too much humidity, but yeah, no, apparently not. And yeah, this is my chaos room that I still need to finish the ceiling on. It just couldn't get to it because there was a bunch of garbage on the floor. There's not anymore, so that might be a project for when I get my car fixed. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, this is the bunker storage room. But I need to get some water out here before that basil dies completely. And that cactus probably also could use a drink. Yeah, it's fine. It's what it is. It's fine. But this may need to get out into the greenhouse as well. And it has a cover that's in there, and I can double up this and try to overwinter my peppers in the greenhouse, in the greenhouse. We'll see. Yeah, that is a future Lauren problem to solve, but not today. Okay, last stop in the house. So tray of salad greens, tray of different salad greens. These are brassicas. They came up way faster. Starts, different basils. I was going to try to grow inside over winter for tea. I think these are all kohlrabi. And then onions and a bunch of different brassicas. So these are what I'm going to transfer out tomorrow. Basil. From basil I started last January, and then it set seeds in the house, and I threw the seeds on here and just watered it. No supplemental light, just growing in the shade from the window. But we've been just getting basil, and then it made baby basil. So it's super tasty. It is Italian style sweet Genovese basil. And then the ones that are down here are holy basil, lemon basil, cinnamon basil, and blue spice bush basil. So I think my holy basil did not come up at all, which I'll restart it. But that's okay. I need to water these. This is very dead coffee plant and a very mostly dead bay leaf plant. So these are bay leaves. And these are very dead dried bay leaves, but they smell good. Dead lemon plant. I have trying to grow trees inside where we're not friends. It's okay. But yeah, spice. Very dead store-bought coriander. Always more to do. This sage is very old and refuses to die, which I like, and occasionally will use to eat, but mostly just have to smell because it smells awesome. But yeah, it's just got this one stem or two stems that are like, I will live, I will find the light, and I will live, because plants are awesome. Thanks for watching.